Okay, Lucas, we're live. Thanks for joining me on the podcast. As I typically do, I'll give you the floor. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for my audience so people know who you are and what you're.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me. So I'm Lucas Saud. I'm founder of Job Surfers OS, and sorry about that. It's Job Surfers. Job Surfers OS is our online program, our online course. But yeah, Job Surfers is the all-in-one platform to land your dream job. And yeah, hopefully I can share a little bit about my experience working remotely and working at amazing startups and companies like Amazon and WeWork. So happy to be here.
Yeah, sounds good. Maybe we can start with the Amazon and WeWork, right? Because you help people land their dream job. It seems like you were able to get, prior to being an entrepreneur, you're able to get these really good jobs at Amazon, for example. So, how did you land that job at Amazon? Maybe you can explain that process when thousands of people apply and want to work there and we're going for that same job. Like, how do you stand out? How does someone stand out and land a job at a place like Amazon?
Absolutely. So I think you said like the keyword is stand out, and basically in my experience, I was working at a top pro design agency as an account manager in a sales role, like selling UX UI services and front end development for startups. And I came across this opportunity at AWS where the job title was like startup account manager. So there was already like a fit between what I was doing and the responsibilities of this job. But the key thing is that when I applied to that opportunity, preparation was key. In this case, AWS provides you a lot of information on how to prepare your interviews, like using the STAR method, where you have to like describe situations, tasks, actions, the results you got. And I think they were like 6 stages with a final panel where you have to pitch your story. You had to do like a role play between like a customer and a sales rep. But I think preparation was key. I didn't know almost anything about cloud services, and I got certified by AWS on a weekend, more or less. And I really went through all the job description, all the responsibilities and the skills, and wrote down like real life examples of previous experiences that were super aligned to that role, right? Like experience closing customers, experience managing a team or whatever. Preparation was key, and practicing interviews and practicing your storytelling and answering like tell me about yourself and those type of typical questions was super important. And also to ask questions at the end of the interview, like smart questions, like I don't know, tell me about the main goals for this year, and that type of questions were really like the main difference maybe with other candidates when I got that opportunity.
And how did you, maybe we could talk about like the resume or application process, because I think that's what a lot of people struggle with today is they see an amazing job at their dream company and they submit it online and it just kind of goes into nowhere. And there's thousands of other people that apply. So how do you make sure that your resume is picked up and reviewed and you're able to get to that interview process so you can then do the prep work like you were talking about and really nail the interview?
Yeah, so I think like the main thing is to really understand which are like the type of jobs you are realign, not to be like applying to any kind of jobs and shooting everywhere. Like you have to really dive deep into the specific roles you really have experience. And once you find those, I think like the main key is to really customize your resume and make sure you are delivering like the right keywords, delivering and providing achievements, metrics, like showing the impact of your work. And yeah, that's one of the main things we teach at Job Surfers. We use the Harvard's framework that we know it's ATS friendly. You're going to go through the main filters, like the automatic filters, but it's super important to invest some time in your resume to really understand if you are showing up like your results, your experience, the main keywords, if it's like a sales role and you have keywords or responsibilities around, I don't know, manage a pipeline of customers, closing deals, sending contracts, whatever, making sure you're really showing that experience that is super aligned to the job description. It's not just like making just one resume, but really making sure you are customizing that resume for that specific role. It might take some time, but the conversion rate should be pretty higher, I would say.
So, and I think you almost do the opposite of what people do today, right? I think in the age of online applications, they kind of just spam and say, okay, I'm going to apply to 100 jobs and hopefully I'll get interviewed at one. And you're saying, hey, maybe only apply to 5 and tailor the resume to each and you'll get an interview for 2. So is that what you found in your own experience and working with your clients through job surfers?
Yeah, obviously that you need to apply to a certain volume of applications maybe per week, but you have to be like a sniper. You have to be super accurate on what you are applying. If not, you're gonna apply for 200 jobs and you will have 0 responses. I think like the sniper approach has like a higher conversion rate. Absolutely.
And do you recommend, or in your experience, like getting the job at Amazon and WeWork, kind of cold messaging or reaching out to a recruiter, hiring manager, somebody at Amazon where you can have an informational interview? Is that kind of a strategy and tactics that you implore as well?
Absolutely. So, for example, at WeWork, when I came across an opportunity after applying, I connected with 2 guys from the team in the same country through LinkedIn. I sent them like a short message trying to delivering my main highlights and achievements. And then I went to WeWork's main webpage and I sent them a message that said something like, hey, WeWork's team, I just applied to this position. I believe that based in my experience doing this, and that, this could be like an amazing opportunity. And this is the strategy I will carry out to launch in Argentina and be super successful. And I gave like 2 or 3 examples of like a campaign to launch WeWork in Argentina. And I think that if you're providing value and showing your expertise upfront, you might get like a response from them, like trying to get that interview. And that's what I did for WeWork and for other companies. And after 6 interviews, preparing interviews and showing my story or showing my examples and delivering value upfront, I think it was like the main difference with other candidates. I feel most of the candidates go to an interview wishing like, I hope I'm lucky. I hope the interview goes like easy or whatever. I try to go to deliver value upfront. I try to show them I really understand the business, the customers, the service, and that I did my research. I think that's like one of the main things a candidate can do nowadays to really stand out from the rest.
And are you able to kind of maybe expand on that? Maybe like a simple framework that people can use to prepare for interviews? Like, what are they doing? Is it just surfing on Amazon's website for an hour before, or is there a specific checklist of items that they should research and have written out that they can speak to?
Yeah, so I would say like my main framework would be like a combination of really analyzing the company, the services, their customers, analyzing the job description, like bringing real life examples of your previous experiences aligned to the job. Also, you can do a lot of research about the person that is going to be interviewing you, because maybe you have some background in common, maybe you went to the same college, maybe you worked at the same company. So if you are able to connect from the beginning and to show preparation, show that you understand the business, show them that you invested some time because you're really interested, that's like another game. And if you reach out, you send the right message to the right person, and you bring with, for example, metrics or numbers. For example, I used to say back in my when I was working at Amazon, I was leading a territory of 800 startups, and I was helping them build on top of AWS, and I was able to sell 3.5 million on my first year, and I had like an achievement on my sales goal. So using those type of frameworks or phrases when you are explaining what you did and the results you achieved, it's really like I would say like a no-brainer. Like it's the way you have to explain yourself or maybe explain your past experiences. to show them the impact of your work. That would be like a highlight of the framework or strategy I commonly use.
Yeah, and you just kind of mentioned how you were in a sales role at Amazon. So do you ever draw the parallel of applying and getting your dream job is essentially just selling yourself? And so you use the same tactics, whether you're selling AWS to a startup or yourself to the company or startup that you want to work for. Is that a good way to think about it as well? Is that kind of how you think about it?
Absolutely, I think it's really really similar because you have a pipeline of customers, you have a pipeline of applications, you have a conversion rate. I strongly recommend to keep track of your customers or your applications, because that way you know if you're moving forward or why you are being rejected, at what stage of the process you are. And as you said, being able to pitch yourself or pitch a customer is super important. And preparation and research, it's super super similar. So I think like the sales approach to land dream jobs would be like a great way to like to think about it, right?
Yeah, and what do you say to people that say, "Oh, well, I'm not in sales or I'm not good at sales. I'm just applying for an analyst position or an operations position." Is that something you deal with when working with people through the job surfers program?
Yeah, absolutely, because we work with software engineers, marketing, project managers, operations, and that's why we try to teach those skills, those soft skills, communication skills, because you need them. Even if you are in an operations role, you're gonna be pitching your processes or your systems to your boss or to your team. So learning how to share your story, how to sell yourself, how to sell your ideas. It doesn't matter if you are into sales or not. Those are skills I think maybe we most of us we didn't have like the chance to learn them at school or college. And I think they really make the difference, right? Yeah, you need to have to you need to learn how to communicate effectively and to sell your ideas and yourself. So that's why we teach those things. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think a good way to look at it too is if you're in operations, for example, it's just your customer is internal and it's not external. If you're actually selling something, you're selling the product to the external customer. But yeah, to your point, everybody's selling or pitching their ideas to somebody. So I think that's a really good point. The next question I want to talk about too, right? You're all about landing someone their dream job. Would you say when you got that job at Amazon that you said, "Hey, this is my dream job"?
And not at all. I
Okay.
would say,
But did you think that going in though? Did you think that going in, like, oh, you get the offer, you're like, oh, finally, I got the Amazon job, I've made it, and then you started and realized it was something else? Is that?
yeah, that's what happened. Basically, we all know Amazon, we know Google, Facebook. I'm big fan of like Silicon Valley companies and startups. And joining Amazon to lead like a startup territory, working with technology with a great logo on my back, felt like a dream. And this is something I think like happens often. Sometimes we have like an idea of a company, but once you join that company, maybe things are different, like the culture is different, or the way of selling that product or that service is different, or the person you're going to be talking to, in my case, was like CTOs or head of engineers. And yeah, I'm leading a territory of 800 startups. It was really like a super challenge. In my case, maybe it was the culture. The culture fit was not like what I was expecting, because it was like the startup team, but at the same time, Amazon is like the biggest company in the world. So we had both worlds, I would say. So that's why sometimes I even encourage people that when they land interviews and they are not sure maybe about the culture fit or whatever, I tell them, try to make your research in Glassdoor or other websites, like where you can have like a rating of the culture and some reviews. But also you can contact people on LinkedIn by filtering, for example, past companies and reaching out to them and saying, hey, I just landed an interview at this company. I saw you used to work here and would love to have your feedback or insights in terms of the culture and if you recommend joining this company. I think most of the people don't do that, and you can find great insights to avoid those maybe those situations in the future. But yeah, just to reduce that risk, I would say.
And then, so what did you do in that situation where you landed a job that you thought was going to be fit, wasn't there? What recommendation, or what did you do, and what recommendations do you have for others? Do you stick it out and say, okay, you need to make it at least 2 years here and do your best, and then look for something else, or is it immediately start hunting and looking for something else?
Now, I think like it's maybe it's important to give you some time and to analyze the situation. But yeah, in my case, after 10 months, I decided to quit. I didn't have any opportunities. I was not interviewing for other companies. The fun fact is that after a week, I was loaded of opportunities. Maybe because I had Amazon's logo in my back, and maybe because I'm maybe really good looking for opportunities. And sometimes I say, maybe I stayed too much. Maybe I wish I would have quit before because I was not having like a great time. But I think it depends on any like on your personal situation. Obviously, there's a salary, you have to live, you have to pay your expenses. But I will suggest that if you learn the skills, if you learn the strategies or the systems to land jobs, invest your time there, but try to not to stick in a job you are not really happy, because nowadays there are so many opportunities worldwide that doesn't make sense to spend your life working in a place you are not enjoying, I believe.
So you left Amazon, and then did you land at WeWork? Was that the next position, or were there something in
No,
between?
in fact, WeWork was before. After Amazon,
Mm.
I landed a job at Athena. That is a remote recruiting agency. I joined Athena when they were like 15 people. Now they are like 60. And it was founded by Bill Kerr. He's from Australia. It was fully remote, fully asynchronous, but the culture was amazing. Like the fun fact is that no one had the chance to meet Bill in person because he was in Australia and most of the team was here in Argentina. And we were having gatherings or like after going for after office with the team here in Argentina. The culture was great. We were helping amazing talents in Latin America land amazing jobs for US companies. US companies were hiring amazing people and saving a lot of money as well. And we were having a great time. So my learning there was that you can really land an amazing job and feel part of an amazing team and have like a great culture. And if it's fully remote, it's possible. Like you can really have the systems and the culture in a fully remote company and make the most out of it. The good thing I think is that after a while, when the company started to grow, they offered us like WeWork memberships. So we were able to maybe rent like an office and spend some time together in person. So I always talk about like I like the fully remote culture with the option to go hybrid, when with the option of going to an office, but when you decide it, not when the company says like you have to come to the office on Mondays or Wednesdays. Having that option, I think it really adds value to the whole culture of the company.
And was Athena your first foray into fully remote work? Or so, like when you worked for Amazon and WeWork, for example, were you in office? Was this pre-COVID, and you were in office or out in the field, and there was mandatory in-office time? Is that how it worked?
So WeWork was in office. Obviously, we were selling the office space and everything what WeWork
Yeah.
offers. But Amazon was during the pandemic, so it was fully remote, and that was like 4 years ago. Yeah, during the pandemic, the whole pandemic, and then yeah, Athena was like the next move, fully remote since yeah. I'm a little bit lost with the years right now. After the pandemic, you lose like
Yeah.
the years count, but I would say yeah. Athena was almost 3 years ago until I quit. I joined in Argentina and then I moved to Australia, but it was always fully remote.
And so was it really Athena that sold you on remote work specifically, that hey, this is kind of the future, like this is the way that most companies should operate?
Yeah, absolutely. I realized you can grow a company and hire an amazing team, have an amazing culture, work remotely from wherever you want as long as you really deliver results. We were working from Argentina to the US to Italy to Australia, and yeah, it's possible. Like you have another great examples of startups like Deal, Remote, Oyster, like fully remote companies that raised millions of dollars, and they are super profitable and they are growing. And I think it gives you so much freedom of your time and much more like work-life balance than going to the office and being stuck in the traffic. So yes, I became like an evangelist of remote work after that.
Yeah. What can you speak more to though? So you mentioned that Athena they allowed you to go into a WeWork building, and so with other workers in Argentina, you could meet up and have that in person interaction. Were there people on the team though that were more isolated? They lived and they were the only person that was an Athena employee that lived in the United States. And then if that's the case, like how do you manage that as a remote company if your workforce is really interaction? What do you recommend there?
Yeah, what I recommend, and that's something that maybe Athena learned during the whole expansion stage, is to start hiring in different countries, but maybe start like hiring like in hubs, like let's start to hire people from Argentina, then to Brazil. So you have different teams across different countries, and they have the chance to gather and to maybe go to a WeWork space, and you don't have like a single person, I don't know, in Italy, but maybe they would like to spend some time with the rest of the team or go to a WeWork space. That would be like a good approach, like hire, but in a hubs mode in different countries. That's like a good way, I think, of avoiding that situation where maybe you have one person that feels more alone or separate from the rest of the team.
Well, so maybe I can ask you, like with Athena, was it okay? You can work remotely and you can be based in Argentina, but we're going to have a preference for those that are in Buenos Aires, for example, because it's a big city, and then that way you're close, all are close in proximity to each other, and you can meet up after work or go to a WeWork space. Is that kind of the strategy?
To be honest, I'm not sure if that's like the main focus. I think the main focus is to hire amazing talent. If they are close enough to
Hmm.
go to a WeWork space or they are in the same state, maybe you can see that like as like a great opportunity. But I think that never stopped Athena to hire someone somewhere else. We had people in the Philippines, and we have people that they know it would be great maybe to spend some time with the rest of the team, but they don't have any issues like working remotely from their place, and they are fine. Like, in fact, I joined when I was in Argentina, and we had like an amazing team of 15, 20 people. And when I moved to Australia, I know I was going to lose that connection, that spending time with the rest of the team. But well, it was like, the pros and cons of moving to Australia, where I was going to spend time maybe with another group of people. I was going to travel and work remotely from different places, knowing that I was not going to be in Argentina with the rest of the team. That it was something that I really enjoyed as well. So yeah, that would be like my, at least from my experience, my
What?
approach.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I'm just kind of curious what was behind your decision to move from Argentina to Australia? Was it based on Athena and being engaging with the team and the founder and the leaders over there?
In fact, I had the dream of moving to Australia many years before, and when I was with my girlfriend, we were waiting to have like the European passport, because for Australia it's easier to get the visa. She was finishing college as well, so once we were able to have that, and it was aligned with the time I quit Amazon. I started talking to people, and I started like doing my research for, yeah, mostly in startups from Australia, and that's how I came across Athena. I had two interviews. The first one with the HR manager, the second one with Bill. He was in Australia, in Melbourne at that moment, and in the first time I met him, I said, I'm really excited to join the company. I'm gonna be your Messi or whatever. But one day I wanna work from Australia. And he said, yeah, that's fine. We can figure that out. So I really worked hard to deliver amazing results. And after 1 year, I applied to a visa. I paid for that visa by myself, and I asked Bill to move to Australia. He was fine with that, and I was able to start developing like the APAC market, I would say, and that was like for 2 years more or less.
Got it. And then can we kind of talk about, I guess it would be present day, or I'm not sure when you left Athena, but how did Job Surfers come about? Was this something that you've been working on for years and now you've finally been able to go full time, or is it something that you just started months ago and it kind of meshes with what you were doing at Athena, so it makes sense? And in your past career, right, you were able to land these amazing jobs. Like, what's the origin story for Job Surfers?
Yeah, that's a great question because it was like a combination of everything. At Athena, because I was in the sales team, I was reaching out to companies that were actively hiring every day for almost 3 years. And I became sort of like an expert looking for opportunities. And there was a lot of people that was reaching out to me saying, "Hey, Lux, I can see that you are working remotely from Bali in Australia, and I want to land like my dream job." And I started like mentoring a lot of people. They landed amazing jobs. And at that time, I realized that there was like great potential and a great opportunity to help others with my expertise. I hire a coach. I work with him like for 2 months. And one of the main concepts that we worked on was the Ikigai concept, the Japanese concept, where basically I realized that I was an expert looking for jobs. I really enjoyed helping others. The people need this, and there's a market willing to pay for this. So that whole interaction between or in the Ikigai framework helped me to create Job Surfers, where I'm able to help others and live from a business that really has like a higher purpose of helping others land a dream job. So that was like the whole combination. Obviously, I added my expertise of landing interviews at Google or working at Pathrise, this YC startup that teaches US students to land jobs. And yeah, I realized there are a lot of different things in the US mostly providing these services. And Job Surfers tries to combine that knowledge, tech, strategies, systems into a whole bootcamp, yeah, to deliver that value. And when people lands their job and they send us like a message saying, "Hey, looks, I accepted the offer, I'm super happy, thanks so much," that's like the biggest accomplishment, and that's what made me, I would say, makes me more proud, I would say.
And did you always know that you wanted to own your own company or do your own thing? I'm kind of thinking about like the progression of your career where you work for WeWork and Amazon, and then you work for a fully remote startup where you have more responsibilities and more direction in where the company goes. And then now, fully remote founder. Was that intentional? Like, do you look back at when you worked for Amazon or WeWork and said, I'm going to do something, I just need to figure out what it is. And then now you've kind of figured it out?
Well, at first, when I finished university, I wanted to be like an entrepreneur. I tried with a mobile app. I was not really successful. I was able to be like pre-selected for YC in an event here in Buenos Aires. But then I don't know. It didn't happen. I was not very successful with that first startup. And once I started like working at different companies, and even when I joined Athena, I realized that you can be super happy working in a company with a great culture and making good money or whatever, and that's fine. But somehow I felt that I had the chance to like make something bigger and to try to have this second chance of trying to build something for my own and have even more flexibility and more freedom that what Athena was giving me. And that's like, I would say, yeah, my experience. There was like a first stage of I want to be an entrepreneur. The second stage was, well, I can find amazing companies where I'm happy and I'm making good money. And this third stage is like, okay, let's try this again and see what happens. That would be like the summary, I would say.
Do you have any advice for anybody else that wants to be an entrepreneur too? And I kind of want to get your take on, obviously, I'm assuming you built Job Surfers while you're working at Athena. So how do you build something on the side while also working a full-time job? Do you have any recommendations in that sense?
Yeah, so from my experience, I would say that try to test your idea, try to test your business model, spending almost zero or little money. You're able to do that right now, like sharing content, running interviews, or showing like a product that maybe it doesn't exist right now. Try to test those ideas. And if your hypotheses are proved, maybe you can start an MVP, like a prototype of your product or your service while you are working. And I think you will get to a point where you see enough traction. If there's revenue, if there's enough customers where you can maybe, I don't know, you are already making something where you can maybe live or cover some expenses. I think you will figure out like when it's the right timing to do the shift and make that move, make the move of quitting and go full time to build your startup. I also tried to understand which was my runway and how much cash I have if I start job surfers, and I try to spend like 1 year building job surfers until it gives me enough revenue. So understanding your financials and how much money you have saved, I think it's always important. But yeah, I would say always go with the lean startup approach, test your ideas, and you can do like that transition from your full-time job to a full-time founder, I would say.
And I'm curious what happened once you quit, because I think about this a lot too. Like when you quit Athena or your full time job, it must open up so much time. And so, did you really see your productivity and therefore your product and potential customers, pipeline, everything? Did it really start to increase, or did it take longer than you expected to get it up and sustainable?
I think I already had like a lot of ideas of projects and things that I was able to run already, doing job surfers. So yeah, I believe I had like a lot of more free time to create more content, to deliver like a more one-on-one approach with every fellow in the bootcamp. Yeah, I started building like my website and a lot of different things that nowadays I have like a long list of things to do. But yeah, I would say when you make the decision, I think you have some sort of plan and ideas of all the things you have to do. And I think like the key thing you can do is to really plan, and start writing down like, well, okay, now I have like a full day to build this company and to reach out to customers and think about my strategy, my content, how I'm gonna be like sharing the knowledge or the tools or whatever. Um, so I think it was pretty quick, like I would say like those days where I was starting to get like busy with job surfers. Obviously I enjoyed my free time. I was in Australia with friends and we were going to surf almost every day. But if you are super consistent and disciplined, you can really like achieve great things pretty fast, I would say.
And so you kind of mentioned it, surfing, right? I think a lot of people want to be a founder or want to be a solopreneur or whatever you want to call it because of that freedom. Is that what drives you? And then if so, like, what does your day look like? Has this taken a lot more effort and work? Are you working 50, 60-hour weeks, or are you working less than you did at Athena and you're surfing and you're just kind of building this and it's sustaining you off less work? I think that's everybody's dream, right? Is to have the freedom and work
Yeah.
less and have potential more upside. So I don't know if that's the case for you, if maybe you could speak to that.
Now, in my case, I would say I'm working much more than that I was working in Athena. I'm doing less right now. It's like the typical thing when you start your startup. But I really enjoy it. Like in my weekends, maybe I'm working, but I really enjoy it. Like I'm creating content. I'm looking for new job opportunities to send to the people that is in the program. But I try to keep some work-life balance, to keep going to the gym, to keep going to the beach, to surf with my friends. And there's one book that I already know all the like the learnings or the insights, but because of videos or whatever. But I started reading now the 5 a.m. club, from Robin Sharma, and it gives you so much information about productivity and how to win your mornings, that if you really wake up early, you do the things. I know I work with the other projects I have in job surfers. Maybe at midday, I already have finished all the things I had to do for that day. and I have enough time to go to the gym, to go to the beach. Maybe I'm gonna work as well a little bit on the afternoon, but I think the key is to find like the right balance and to make sure you are not going to burn out, whether if it's with your job or your startup. I think that's like the key to stay happy, motivated, and excited, and productive and healthy. It's a constant challenge, but it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, if you wake up at 5 and you immediately start working and you work till noon, I mean, that's a pretty much a full work day, right? By
Yeah.
lunch, which yeah, I think it's really good advice. Yeah. I'm up early too, but I want to kind of pivot too. Maybe we can talk about what you're actually offering through job servers. I think I understand at a high level, right? So there's like one-on-one kind of coaching or boot camp with you, and then there's a self-guided course. Is there anything else, or am I understanding what you're offering correctly?
Yeah, so right now the bootcamp offers like 6 master classes recorded with one-on-one coaching, weekly office hours. We not only teach you how to look for jobs and apply for jobs, but we also send you opportunities. We connect you with recruiters. But yeah, that's like the bootcamp, and we are trying to replicate all the content into a self-paced course with Job Surfers OS. And yeah, in the future, we have two other programs in mind. One is going to be Job Surfers Pro. That's basically for the people that they don't have time for a bootcamp and they need to rebuild their resume. So we deliver like custom, I would say custom services for different things. And the last one is going to be like Job Surfers for Business. That's basically the B2B business unit where we offer our services, especially for companies that maybe are doing layoffs. They can provide career support to those employees through job surfers as a partner. I think that business is going to be super, super interesting. And we are going to be able to approach different audiences or markets with a pretty, I would say, similar content or strategies, but putting the focus on different needs and different customers, I would say. So that would be like the four programs, and that's why we changed a little bit our slogan of maybe being the online program to land your dream job into the all-in-one platform to land your dream job. So yeah, that's basically like the whole plan nowadays.
And with those kind of more grand plans, what is your vision for job servers? I mean, maybe 5 years out, right? You launch that whole in one platform. Is that going to require that you hire a team? And is that what you're planning on? Are you looking at funding? Are you looking at all that? Or is it for now, hey, I'm happy just running it mostly myself and I want to keep it that way so I don't have to manage a team because, there's downsides, upside potential that comes with that, but also downsides as well, right?
Absolutely, and that's a thing that I always think about. Like, do I want to be like a one-person business or maybe like a startup with a whole team? Nowadays, I think we are going through the startup team path. An ex-colleague of Athena joined as a co-founder, and we are hoping to hire for now like some career mentors that can run like the cohorts of the bootcamp. So maybe the vision is to have like, I would say, different cohorts with career mentors that take care of the bootcamp, and maybe some other career mentors or career coaches that can deliver the service for example, for the businesses. And yeah, try to make the online course Job Surfers OS be available for as many people as possible. So that's like the main vision. Try to at least try to get to the milestone of, I don't know, 1 million per year. That would be like pretty cool to start, I would say.
And then I'm curious, who do you work with or who's your ideal avatar? I mean, is it anybody globally that wants a remote kind of tech focused job or is it narrowed down more than that?
Yeah, so when we started, thanks to some LinkedIn posts, we were being reached out by people from anywhere like India, Europe, US, Latin America. And we decided to not only focus on remote work, but to open up maybe to hybrid, or it could be on-site. Remote work is like the typical one. I think it's like the dream job
Hmm.
of most of the people. But we open up in terms of remote or hybrid, but we narrow down into Latin America and the US, mostly because we know the companies, we know the recruitment agencies, and we can really provide value there. And we know it's not maybe the same if you are helping someone from India or helping someone from Australia or Europe. It's not like the same market. So yeah, we narrow down and we look for people that it's in sales, marketing, software engineering, operations, executive assistants, design. Those are like the typical 8, 9 roles in the, I would say, IT startup industry. And we look for like at least 1 or 2 years of experience up to 10 years of experience, could be 20 years of experience. But yeah, maybe not like recent graduates, I would say.
And how does it work if someone wants to sign up for you? How much do they expect to spend, right? So is like maybe like the self-guided course versus the more tailored cohort boot camp. I mean, are you talking? Are we talking hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, or is there maybe something where, hey, if you get the job, then you give job surfers a portion, like you pay once you get the job? I don't. How does it work?
So the bootcamp works in the following way. We request a commitment bond between 1 and 2K upfront, and that commitment bond turns into a payment only if you land a job offer, right? If you don't
Hmm.
land a job offer after finishing the bootcamp after 6 months, we will get you 100% of the refund. So that's like how we structure the business model, I would say, because we want to make sure that the people that joins the program is really committed, and we're going to be fully committed because if we don't get you the result, you can apply to the refund. So that's like the bootcamp. The self-paced course is easier. It's obviously more affordable. It's going to be but with a early bird launch of, and you're going to be able to learn all the strategies, the tools, and the systems by yourself. And the idea is not only to provide like a self-paced course, but only to make you part of job surfers and be able to join like a talent pool and unlock maybe some benefits from our partners and try to have some additional value rather than just taking like an online course. We really want you to help you land your dream job, but it's necessary to have like an amazing resume with Harvard's framework, have like a super optimized LinkedIn profile, how to prepare your interviews. Those steps are super important. And to be able to, like to reach thousands of people anywhere, this course, I think, is going to be one of the ways to be able to do that as well.
And what is your success rate with helping people land jobs that are in the boot camp? Is it pretty high? And do you kind of protect yourself by screening people appropriately and only allowing people into the boot camp where based on your experience, say, oh yeah, I'll be able to land him or her a job easily? Is that kind of the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So we try to qualify as much as we can the people. We ask them, obviously, especially for Latin America, like advanced English, because they're gonna have interviews in English. We ask them their LinkedIn profile. We ask them their resume. We ask them if they're willing to invest in a program. So we only go to calls that are super qualified and with roles that we know that they are in with high demand, because sometimes I get messages from a dentist that wants to work remotely and they are changing careers and there's like a super high risk there. So we try to qualify a lot, and we say our approach is if we qualify correctly, we coach them really well, we build partnerships with agencies, we ask them to apply to 20 jobs per week, we send them opportunities, etc., etc., etc. If we do the right things after 6 months, the success rate should be pretty good. Nowadays, obviously, we launched like 3 months ago, maybe I would say, and we only picked 20 people. 5 people already landed a job. The rest are everyone is with interviews, and the rest already just joined like the program, so they are building their resume and their LinkedIn. So I would say we're doing pretty good. Obviously, you learn from each cohort, and we try to reduce the risk. For example, at first we were accepting people that needed like a visa because they were hoping to land a job. They were living in India, hoping to land a job in Europe. And those type of things, when you depend from a visa, it's super hard to get like an offer. So we are trying to not deal with those cases. But yeah, it's like you are learning every time you are qualifying and running different cohorts, I would say.
Very cool. No, I mean, I think it's amazing that you've tied your experience into a company where you really are the expert and you say, okay, I know I can help you achieve this result. And I'm sure there's so many people out there that, you know, they've been applying and applying and applying and they never get a response. And you say, oh no, you just need to follow these steps and it will get you the result that you want. So I think it's awesome what you're building. Maybe to close and kind of the final question, just for any other aspiring entrepreneurs, now that you've been doing job surfers for a while, any recommendations about those that are kind of in the beginning stages of their journey, or the biggest lesson you've learned so far building job surfers over the past several months?
Absolutely. So I think one of the things you just said was that I'm the expert. Let's put it that way. So if you find a problem where you feel you are the expert, you know how to solve that problem, you have a lot to build your startup. Because, for example, when I launched my first startup, it was like a mobile app, like a gated, like a um, Google Maps for gated communities. The main thing was tech, and I'm not technical. I'm not a developer, so I had to hire someone, and I didn't know how to. I had like an idea of how I could build this app. I didn't have like a technical co-founder or whatever. If you are the expert, you know really well the problem, and you can start solving the problem by yourself and testing how to solve it, whatever. You're gonna have, like, I would say, the baseline of the skills and the things you need to solve the problem. If you can find that alignment between your expertise and the problem, that might be like a great opportunity to think about and to build your startup, and try to think that you are helping or serving others and they are willing to pay for that service or that product, that you can start like building something, and it's going to be changing and evolving. But I would say that's like a great starting point if you are thinking about founding your startup.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, right? When you're the expert, I mean, you're just providing value. You can provide so much value that therefore people come to you. You don't need to, I'm sure you don't need to beg people to have them help you. You help them land a great job, right? They come to you because you get the results. And that's kind of the key, I think. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
just to kind of close out, and I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you're busy building a company, but any closing thoughts? Where can people find you? Floor is yours to close us out here.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn as Lucas Saud. You can find job surfers on LinkedIn and www. And yeah, I have some socials as well, but I would just recommend you to go there, and you can contact us through the website or at hello@jobsurfers.org as well. And yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. Always happy to share and to help others. So thanks for having me and for inviting me to this episode.
Of course, yeah. Thanks, Lucas, and yeah, best of luck.